What's up guys, Miss Amber Red here. I wanted to start this video off with a fun clip of me inside our podcast studio. You can see here, we're never taking things too seriously. We have a lot of fun during our podcast filming and recording, and I just wanted to put together a recap of, since we're approaching probably about 75 episodes here, I wanted to just show you guys an inside look at some of my favorite episodes and some of the amazing connections that we've got to make over this last year or so. So hopefully you guys have enjoyed this as much as we have. Stay tuned, we got more coming.
Isn't this so much fun?
You started, you said, in the tattoo world. So a little bit on, like, were you doing body tattoos?
Yes.
Okay, and so you're doing body tattoos, and I mean, obviously coming from the body tattoo, you're familiar with so many different needles, right? Like, so how was that transition into permanent makeup for you? Was it slightly confusing as to like, why are people using this single needle for everything? And like, did you feel like you should have brought some of the tattoo industry over into permanent makeup? And did you bring it over with you?
So yeah, in that age, I don't do that. So in that age, I was so influenced from adults, and they all the time say, you have to do it like we say. So they all the time sit there with single needles and work for hours and hours on clients. So, and of course, the question comes for me after several years, why we don't do that with bigger needles, like a 23 curved mag or something like that. So you could cover that service down to a short amount of time, and the customer don't have that much pain or something like that. Mm-hmm. And then they started to all the time discuss with me and so on. And then I start 2007 for a company that this is producer here in Germany for tattoo needles and machines. And in that time, it was the first time they hear me about bigger needle groups. So I started working with 5 round shaders and so on, for especially for lips, but still eyebrows and eyeliners, single or 3 round liner, nothing else.
Okay.
And then after a time, they're starting out going bigger, but still in Germany, the most popular service that you see is single needle or microblading.
Okay. And
kind of like here.
A
little bit, right? I mean, I feel like that's changing. It's shifting a little bit.
It is shifting a little bit. I don't know where the mindset came in that like single needles should be used on everything. And just, I know everybody's going to kill me for saying that, but I'm just wondering where that came from, because when I go, and I'm going to use a stupid, I think it's analogy, but if you go to paint, like I have an art background. So you go to paint, say you're painting a bigger canvas, and I want that whole canvas covered with paint. I'm going to use, I need to paint this whole canvas. Like, what's the quickest way I can get this done? I'm going to use a big ass paintbrush and I'm going to cover it, right? But instead, I'm going to use, my mindset with the single needle thing is they're using little tiny detail brushes to fill in the canvas. And I'm like, I'm so confused.
Yeah, when you say it like that, it visually helps me see. It makes more sense.
Yeah.
All right. You want to, like, everybody often wonders how I got, like, everybody always wonders about, like, I guess my past. Like, because, you know, I'm so open about it. I am. I'm so open about it.
I see you on social media.
I know. I talk about
it.
I love that. I love my feet.
No,
People love my feet. It's not my problem. They love my feet.
I've been saying since day one to, well, I obviously, I'm a little more like, I try to stay muted unless somebody pisses me the fuck off, and I come for them. But anyways, other than that, I'd stay pretty like, okay, I'll give you what I want to give you type stuff, which I know that's what you're doing too. But it's like, I've always felt that there's something to that, because and this is going to make me probably sound like an asshole, and I don't care. But when I feel like you do pop off, just a little bit on social media.
Absolutely.
It's teaching people how to treat you.
Thank you.
Another client's not going to come for me. I bet you don't come for me again like that.
Don't do that.
Exactly. Don't do that. Back the fuck up.
I'm a human.
Exactly. And I have opinions, and you have an opinion.
And I have emotions. I have emotions, and I have to deal with every single person. I always tell people, I see around 150 to 175 women a month.
Literally.
girlfriend, I'm going through a breakup too. I'm having a hard day too. I'm hungry too. You know what I mean? Like, I haven't had any caffeine.
It's good for the public to see and know that stuff, because otherwise they don't treat you like you're a human. That's what I was getting at. Everybody always wants to keep them so separate. It's like, here's your business, here's your life. No, bitch, my life is my business, so it's kind of intermingling.
And yes, absolutely. That right there, absolutely. My business is my life. You know what I mean? Literally. And like, when people disrespect me, I'm still the person. I'm like, it's okay. She was just being mean. What? Like, I can take a lot. Like, I have a main, like an insane, whatever. I do have a main. I have an insane amount of bullshit that I can take. Yeah. Right? Because I'm just like, I see the good in everything I do. Same. That's who I am as a person. Like, I know people are like, oh, she's got an RBF. I do. It's just how I look. I can't help it. But there comes a point, like, once you start disrespecting me, it's like my old name used to be Lashley Disaster. That was her name. Shout out to her. She got me to where I am today. But she steps in for me when people start to disrespect me, when people start to take advantage of me. It's almost like this part of my body that I have healed since, from when I was working as a BDSM, as a dominatrix. Yeah. I'm like, okay, that was one too many disrespects. You know what I mean? And then immediately she pops up and she's like, so we're not talking to her like that. and literally, because I'm like, I shouldn't do this because of business. But also, Lashley's like, did you hear what she just said to you? And I'm like, I did. Yeah. So, yes, that's it.
Yeah. I mean, I never thought I would be, in any kind of PMU space in my life. I used to work for I used to work for basically the city. I was a counselor. Oh, okay. So I went to school for that. But, I've just made my way in the industry. I've gotten incredibly lucky. I've worked hard. And I'm just very thankful to be, kind of in people's view of, SMP and micropigmentation and doing that kind of thing. So
how did you go from that to that?
I know, it's crazy. So, long story short, I was helping teens with traumatic experiences, and it just got really heavy. I'm just I'm an empath, so I was just taking on everyone's stuff, and it just really wasn't, what I wanted. But at the same time, I was struggling with hair loss. So, I started losing my hair when I was 18. I was still in high school. I remember the day it was an issue because I was friends with this girl, and she knew somebody that I liked, and I said, hey, like, go put in a word for me. Yeah. And she came back and she's like, no, you don't want her. I'm like, why? What the hell? What? And she's like, she said you're balding.
What?
I was shot to the heart.
Oh no. And this was in high school?
This is in high school.
What the hell?
That is so young to be thinking grown man thoughts like that. Like that's like movies and everything they just depict a villain or the guy who's not, good looking with no hair. And then everyone else who is the hero, they're always like Thor, or they're always like somebody who has like all this hair. So it's ingrained in our mind that if you're old and you're unattractive, you're losing your hair. So when you're young and you're supposed to be in your prime and you're losing your hair, like that's a shot to the heart. So I went through all this different stuff. I got a hair transplant. I did everything on the market, and then finally I got a hair transplant.
How old were you at that point?
21.
21 and got a hair transplant. Holy shit.
15 grand.
Did you do it here in the States?
I did.
Okay.
I did. I didn't go to Turkey. Turkey is like, that's where everyone's going now, but this is like kind of an old school thing. Right. So when I was 21, I got this very invasive surgery, and it was rough. Like, I had the healing process. I mean, everything they tell you about it is nothing like what it really is like. So I did that. I continued to lose hair. I took all these drugs like Propecia and finasteride to help me with my hair, but what it really did is it stunted my natural testosterone at a young developmental age. So I was going through it. Now I'm like missing my hair. I have low T. And then I was in a job that was like weighing on me mentally heavily. Yeah. And so I found Marvin, who is now my business partner. He did my micropigmentation. I could shave my head, I could forget about it, and I could move on from it. And it just liberated me.
And then how old were you at that point? Was it a couple years that it took you to?
27, maybe. 27.
So you dealt with this, it was like 10 years of dealing with the trauma of...
Yeah, thinking about stuff that you shouldn't be thinking about until you're older.
Yeah, that's so tough. Oh my gosh.
It sucks. So then I got my head done by him, and I was like, you know what? Damn, I feel good. And... you know what? I'm looking for a career change. I want to learn this. I'm still going to be in the field to help people feel better about themselves. I can tell my story. I can relate to people who need it done. Dang, I can kill two birds with one stone. I can feel good about myself. I could leave the job I was working, and I could start working for myself. I really wanted like my own time.
Yeah,
because
yeah.
when you work for the city or like
9 to 5 or the 8 to whatever.
Yeah, you got to put in for all your vacation, and that sucks.
And I feel like it maxes out. I feel like that's like what was the big thing with me. It's like I feel like when I had like a real job, I feel like I have 15 jobs now at this point. But it's like when you have a real job, it's like there's a cap on it. Like, and I mean, we'll get into that later. But it's like I feel like you can only make, and it's not about money, but also like you're underneath somebody else. What do they want you to do? It's like so you don't have any input and say like as to like what your day to day looks like. It's on there and it's on their time, and it's you're working this many hours. And like you said, the vacation thing, I'd be cocktailing, and then it would be a dead ass time of the season, and they'd be like, nope, sorry, just decided not to give it to you off. I'm like, well, just decided I'm not coming in. Like, it just sucks. That's
Planes
a shitty,
already booked.
Yeah, it's like that's
like,
a shitty situation to be in. So that's a really good point.
I feel trapped when I'm behind a desk, or when I have to beg someone to give me a very important, vacation off.
Yeah. What's your future look like? So she's been with you 7 months. Do you have anybody else in the studio? Is it?
I have 2 other part-timers. We do have a doctor that rents out the back area of the studio. But I have 2 part-timer PMU girls. And I'm actually in this like limbo space right now in my life where I don't know what I'm going to do. My lease is up in December, so I don't know that if I'm going to renew. I've kind of thought about doing this podcast stuff. Maybe I'd get a space that has like a little back studio. I don't know. I do have a bikini line that I am starting, so
that is so fun. Oh my god, I love it.
Yeah.
All of a sudden,
do
I'm
the
like, I'm
podcast
awake.
because it's a nice change to everything else you're
Yes.
doing. Like this is like we love it. We look forward to podcasting.
No matter
So
how
do
tired
it.
we are, we're like, okay. Like I made a post this morning, and I'm like dying in bed, but I'm like, guess what today is?
Yeah.
It's podcast day.
Yeah, but
and I
it's
get
so-
to have fun.
Yeah, it's
That's
so
something
nice.
I really
yeah.
want to do. Like I've been like begging her. I'm like, let's do it. And like aside from business, we're best friends. So I'm like, we just would have so much to talk about.
Yeah,
right?
I didn't know you guys
Like,
are best friends. That's cool.
Yeah.
And I don't think it all has to be work stuff. Like
that's what I was saying, right?
It can be fun, and like there's times in here where we're drinking champagne, and like who knows what comes out of our
Yeah.
Today's not the time.
I know. I have a client maybe after this. Who knows what's happening with that?
Yeah, we'll
She
see.
was one that read stuff, didn't confirm, just ignored all the reminders. So we'll see what
Oh, it
happens.
was my favorite. When I confirmed the night before, and then they're like, "Oh no, I need to cancel." I'm like, "Oh, were you going to tell me?" Or no,
Like, thank God I texted you, right?
Yeah,
Oh my
that's what I was
gosh.
the other day.
The email or the 2-week text or the month call. I'm like, wait a second, I'm so confused.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
Don't get me started with clients. So let's talk about it.
Yes. Back to your bikinis.
Yes.
How'd you get into that?
You know what? I have always wanted to do this since I was 21. It was always a dream to start a bikini line, and it was something that I just kind of kept in the vault, and I just didn't do anything with it. And I'm 36 this year, and I just feel like,
why the hell not?
Yeah.
like I don't know how much longer I have on this earth. I hope I have many more years, but I really don't know. So I don't know why I would wait to do any of the things that I want to accomplish.
I love that.
You can always do more than one thing at a time, too.
Yeah.
So that's
Yeah.
awesome. That's really cool.
We were just talking about
Yeah.
that. I was like, I saw some quote, but it basically said that like I've never been one to just sit in a box and have to do one single thing.
Yeah.
Like I don't know why that's always been a thing. I don't know if it's like generational.
Yeah.
It's
I
like
think it
do
is.
this and be really good at it. Especially for me, like coming from a background of like school, like I always have my master's, I have a bachelor's, and so I was always like, oh, you have to do this. And I was like, why though? I want to do other things.
Yeah.
So,
What
Multiple
is your
things,
background? What's your schooling in?
I have my bachelor's in child and adolescent development, and then I have my master's in education, so teaching.
Gotcha.
And then I've taught some college courses too.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, she's a
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
she's I'm gonna toot her horn.
Yeah.
She is a published author.
Oh.
I am, yes, I published.
It's a perfect example that you can do whatever the heck you
But
want.
I always
Yeah.
wanted to do permanent makeup, so I don't know. And then you stay in the box, right, that you're in.
Yeah.
And then you're like, wait, why am I still in this?
What brought your interest to permanent makeup?
We wanted to do it at like the same time.
Okay.
And
yeah.
then I went back to school, and I just not in a bad way, but like in a good way. Like you're watching someone like also live your dream, and you're like, why am I not?
Yeah.
Why am I not
doing
doing
this?
it?
We
Yeah.
were touring schools together.
Like, you know,
courses. And
went our
then,
separate ways.
yeah, I did it and she didn't. And
But I would have not ever leaped if it were not for her. Like
Yeah.
she like made me. She pushed me, and then I was like, I'll try on some fake skin. She's like, no, you'll try on a model. Like,
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Heck yeah.
So I
Yeah.
would never have been anything like if it were not for her. Like,
Which is kind of cool because if you've been in it in 7 years now, you can guide her and team up in that aspect, you know, instead of you
Yes.
both being new at the same
Oh,
time,
yeah.
being like,
Yeah.
oh my gosh,
Yeah,
what
totally.
do you know?
I feel
Yeah.
blessed.
Yeah, that's really
Yeah.
cool.
That is
Yeah.
really awesome. That's a
Yeah.
good story.
Yeah, I like
I've never
it.
stayed in a box. So I'm like,
Yeah.
I'm like so weird. I'm like, I'm gonna go to school. I'm gonna go do this. I'm gonna do this. And I just, we were talking about that the other day. I'm almost, it was like, it's weird because I think you even asked, you're like, what the, like, I just never had that feeling. I don't have the, like the scarcity, like my brain literally is wired. It's like you can do whatever the heck you want. See
It's just not everyone is cut out to be an entrepreneur. It's not easy. But the truth is, you can be an employee and do certain things to just help you increase your income. You know, I do think everybody can have some kind of a side hustle, especially in this day and age with social media and the internet. You could do something on the side. Just,
100%.
Sell some T-shirts on, like you could figure something out.
yeah.
Every time inside me, sorry, Sasha, but every time inside me, every time I hear somebody saying they're going to go get another job to get more money, I'm like, my brain immediately
I wanna
goes
shake
to,
them.
yeah, because I'm like, wait. Instead of capping out at the hours, my brain's immediately, absolutely not. Why don't you go do graphics? Why don't you create an online
Yeah.
course? Why don't you get something that's going to reoccur that you can then have that one and then do another one and then do another one and let that kind of keep making you money? But then my brain stops there. I'm like, well, what's after that? I'm like, so I'm like, I don't know everything by any means, but that hourly thing really drives me.
Yeah, it's sad.
Bananas.
I mean, because think about this, right? You need this by 55. I can give you a kind of a guide backwards. Have you guys heard of the rule of 72?
No.
So Albert Einstein came up with this formula. He said, take the interest rate they give you, divide it by 72. It tells you how long it takes the money to double. So I tell my clients just 6%, because that's kind of an average. If you got 6% every year, it's going to take 12 years your money to double. So we divide this in half, go back 12 years to give you a track. So at 55, so we'd be 32 years old. So when you're 32, you need that. And how old are you right now? 27? Mm-hmm. Okay.
I'm
so you
about to be 28.
You got 5 years to get $2.5 million.
Jesus. I know about penises. And traveling around Las Vegas and what she's doing to build her clientele in Las Vegas from Vancouver for her paramedical tattooing. So today we're here with Alex, Adrian, myself, Ari, and Candace. And now I want Candace literally just to jump right into talking about this special service that you offer to people.
Thank you. I mean,
Yes.
that was a cliffhanger even for me. You were like, whoa, stop. And I was like, so, I mean, yeah, like I am also really anticipating this conversation. I guess, so we just kind of like a recap. I was talking about having, I'm Canadian and having my business in Vancouver, Canada. And now moving and having 2 locations, working with Amber in Vegas. I have a crazy way that I like to build my business and just like introduce myself to the community. So that will dovetail into the other subject that we were talking about before. But what I've been doing is I have a bunch of different types of brochures that go over sort of different segments of services, because not everybody, like you kind of have to be aware of, like, if somebody picks up a brochure and they feel like it doesn't pertain to them, they're just going to instantly be like, oh, I don't need that. Right? So you can't have a like nipple brochure that's like breast cancer centric that also talks about permanent makeup or something. Like you need to kind of have separate like actual physical materials to give people, because talking about a service and then actually showing people the results are 2 different things.